Yeah, they had us the first half. I'm not going to lie.
Call could be waved.
I think I got my swagger back. Oh.
I love it, baby.
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins. By Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch. Ball hit high in the air into right field. Going back is Sayre. And Tennessee can say hello win column. A grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. You can't draw it up any better.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now. McGrath for the win. He got it. If you don't like college football and you watch this one, I'm not sure what your problem is.
Reddit did to do, and welcome into More Important Issues. It is Thursday, October 31st. Welcome into another Thursday edition here. Happy Halloween. Well, I'll kick off by saying, stating the obvious, if you will. If I'm going to get one thing right tonight, it's that it is Halloween.
Yeah, happy Halloween. I think this is our second or third actual Halloween doing a show?
I don't know. I know that one time we did it, I would assume on Halloween because we dressed up.
Yeah.
I was actually going to wear that same costume tonight. I didn't even send you the Snapchat because I was going to surprise you. And I knew if we were supposed to be in studio tonight, and I knew there especially I wasn't going to make it even one segment, just how hot I got. And then as I sat at home, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to sit at home in a costume where it's also getting warm. So I did not make it in full costume. So I do apologize for those out there that were eagerly awaiting that reveal. But without coordinating, it looks like me and Landon are we're ready. We have all of Tennessee's offensive sins have been washed. We are in all white. We are cleansed. We are clean. It is a coming out party, if you will. So
what a couple weeks it's been for you.
Yeah, I went from all black to all white, baby. Which, hey, listen, they got me. Am I allowed to wear black this week? What's the rules? How does that happen?
Yeah, you are.
Okay. Good.
It was coordinated. It was planned. So, yeah, you're good.
I mean, imagine if we had I don't know what I would have done if we had lost to either Alabama or Florida or both. I mean, I guess I wear more black than everyone else somehow.
Yeah.
I guess I'm getting getting some people called on me there.
Not the best idea.
Nah, we do what we can. It is, I mean, there is I don't know if it started with the black jerseys or if it's always been a thing, but a Tennessee, and I know it's not on Halloween this year, but like a Tennessee Halloween game when it's close to Halloween, which I guess it could just be like a Tuesday and still we'd pick a game that we'd call it the Halloween game. Even without the black jerseys, I don't know. It's always just felt like a little extra go for some reason. I don't know if it's the orange that we naturally carry or East Tennessee's particularly spooky.
Yeah, I guess it's just something to do with something about the orange.
Maybe. It is an important Halloween color, so I get it.
Yeah.
How do you feel about
black a little bit more over the years than we?
I think from what I can recall, which I was fairly young when the black jerseys were first revealed in 2008. It feels like that's when it picked up. Fair, but I wonder if that's true or not. If it was carried some juice even before then, I don't know. I don't know. I would never remember. What are your thoughts on this holiday as an adult?
I mean, it's cool, I guess. Like the kids like it. I do. And like we were supposed to have a Halloween party this year. We were sick, so we canceled it. So I enjoy Halloween as just like a reason for people to kind of get together. Like I went over to a family member's house tonight and, just hung out.
Did you dress up?
Chili. I did, yeah. I wore Barstool stuff. I had a Miss Peaches hat, and then I carried around a pizza box. I was Dave Portnoy. It was
Interesting.
easy. It was already in my closet, so it was easy.
Fair enough. The guy dressing up's fun, no matter what it is.
The pizza box
I
was not
enjoy.
in my closet, but yes, you get it.
I enjoy a fun stew. What
Yeah.
did you go with, like a Papa John's pizza box or like a specialty, like run of the mill?
Well, when
Looks
I
like
decided to do this, it was
Did you
like
go Little Caesars?
it was Little
I knew,
Caesars.
I knew it. I could feel it in my bones. Could feel it. I love Halloween, but like every good holiday, average Americans have ruined it. The amount of cars in my neighborhood.
Yeah, your neighborhood would be tough to enjoy.
I decided how I'm going to attack it. Number one, if I was when I finally become a county commissioner one day, vote for me, please. I am going to outlaw parking on the streets in my neighborhood specifically, whichever neighborhood I'm in at that point on Halloween. We will tow you, boot you. We will ruin your life if you park on the street on Halloween. And I decided how I'm going to attack that now before I'm county commissioner. And I'm this is a good point. When does it become a safety risk? At this point, an ambulance could not get into my neighborhood in a timely manner.
Right.
Cars parked on both sides of the streets. There's kids running around. This is also why Harambe would still be alive if everyone leashed their kid. You should have to leash your kid on Halloween at this point. If you can't keep them out of the street on Halloween, leash them. Or be a better parent. I don't know. But yeah, I kind of hot take, I guess. Why are you going to other neighborhoods to trick or treat? Why? I don't know. Like, if you don't live in a neighborhood, like, you made that decision. Tell your kids that you made that decision and you decided to live not in a neighborhood. I don't know. It's crazy to me though, just to show up to someone else's neighborhood. And then if you go around, half of the people here, I think, hate it anyways. So you're only hitting half the houses anyways. Like, all the porch lights are off and stuff. Yeah. So I just don't get it. I really don't. I do think it's different if you knew someone here and they let you park in their driveway. Park in a driveway. That's fine. I don't care if every driveway is full. That's cool with me. I'd rather driveways be full and the road be full of kids than cars and kids. That's rant over. Oh,
which is crazy. They could just literally park at the high school and walk over there. Like,
also
that
correct. There is a game tonight too. But yeah, I mean, there's people like parking almost. I couldn't look. When I was leaving earlier, I couldn't see right because there were cars parked all along Tipton Station to the point that you could not see the road. It's a safety hazard, Landon, and we got to fix it. I mean, people are going to die one day. I hate to be blunt about it, but this is ruining America. I do think if we outlawed that, it could also make me some money because then you can charge people like game day. You could charge them to park in your driveway.
I think I would charge them to park in front of my house.
Yeah, I think that would be the move. Like, cone it up and be like, yeah, can't park here. Oh, unless you have $50 on you.
Yep.
And they'd be like, oh, what about my kids?
Then I'd be all about
buy
it.
A house in a neighborhood.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
My wife was like, yeah, buy candy today when I was at the store. Bought candy, 150 pieces of candy. Guess how much that runs you?
$40.
It's $25 for a bag of candy. That's insane. Like, that Inflation. Is wild.
Yeah. I don't know how much it normally would be, but
I don't either. But I guess I don't usually buy candy in bulk. But my God,
I buy it usually after Halloween. Is usually the way I go.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way.
How many trick or treaters did you have this year?
So we took it over to my sister's house.
Oh, okay.
Which we had more than we ever had.
That does piss me off that a neighborhood 0.4 miles away gets 0.
Yeah.
At least, make it a worthwhile. Stop at every neighborhood on the way. Like, get that kid's bag full. What are those things called? I don't even know what they're called. What they put their candy in.
Trick or treat bag.
Yeah, sure.
Watch. Yeah.
I want to go home half full,
but it's not.
It's like there is a name for it, right?
I think it's just your bag, like your candy bag, right?
Maybe.
I don't know. The good thing about like me buying candy for my house would be that I get to eat all the candy because there's no children.
Right. Yeah, that's a bonus.
Yeah.
That is another thing. If you're an adult I don't care if you have a little kid. Dress up. That's fun. Not hating on the stoom. You shouldn't be carrying around a bag of your own getting candy.
Are people doing that?
Dude, all the time. And they'll
That
be
is-
with like they'll be with their 14-year-old doing it all the time. I'm like, go buy your own candy. You do bumming off us.
Yeah, that's those same people that like go up to like, I don't know, Tennessee baseball players and like, hey, sign this, and then sign this one too. Yeah,
for sure. And I was gonna say, yeah, I got your thoughts on the reason I asked your thoughts on Halloween. I thought about this. The best years. Not that I still don't like Halloween. The best years for Halloween though are 7 to 12, probably. You got 5 years there, and then we'll say 18. I said 19, but we'll say 18 once you're in college. 18 to 22. Those are the best Halloween years.
yeah. We had a good Halloween party last year. Like it's fun just doing it as like a group, not just like a. I think you're talking about like a college party.
I mean, not at 7. I'm just talking about
but like 18 to 22.
I'm talking about the years that the Halloween is the most fun.
Okay, yeah.
Are those years? Not that you can't have fun as a 29-year-old.
I think we should do like a new thing where we get all the discounted candy and costumes and then have a party.
Like a week after Halloween party.
Yeah, yeah.
I agree. Why not?
And we should name it something else. It doesn't even have to really be Halloween, I guess.
I also think that all holidays should fall on either Friday or Monday, and they should be observed. I think we should have one holiday a month that is a bank holiday, so everyone's off work, and it's always on a Friday or a Monday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to eat all this candy tonight, and then I'm going to wake up and have to go to work tomorrow. That sucks.
Yeah. I do like the idea of you're going to wake up with wrappers, Kit Kat wrappers on your chest.
Yeah. What is your favorite candy, since we're kind of on this topic?
It's either Reese's or what I've really gotten into lately is essentially Reese's, but made by Mars, peanut butter M&Ms, which I think are far superior to Reese's Pieces. I think Reese's and peanut butter M&Ms are close. But when comparing peanut butter M&Ms and Reese's Pieces, I don't think it's close.
So you're more of a chocolate guy. I'm the opposite.
No, it's the peanut butter. I don't really like M&Ms.
Oh, okay.
At all.
Well, I mean, you're kind of on that realm. I'm more of like a Skittles Starburst.
Oh, you're fruity.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't mean it that way, but when I said it, I realized where that was going. Yeah. No, those are good. I do like what is it called? I always just get them at a gas station. The the long like sour airhead things.
Sour Punch straws.
No, they're just like flat. Well, I get the square ones that come in like a bag at the gas station sometimes.
Extremes.
Yes, those are good.
Okay. Those are good.
And the nerd clusters. Those things are gas.
Yeah, those things are good. I had some of those tonight too.
Those are becoming some of my more like gas station go-tos if I'm not feeling chocolate peanut butter combo.
Yeah.
I feel like we've talked about that before. What do you pick up at a gas station?
I really don't. I'm not a big like.
Yeah, but you're going on like I don't even call it a road trip, like an hour. Like you're driving like hour or two or something. You stop at a gas station, first thing to get gas. Like, what are you grabbing to snack on?
I mean, I'll probably grab some Skittles,
some
Sweet Tarts.
That's crazy. The like chewy ones?
Yeah.
Those are good, but that's still crazy. That's like you're gonna be the guy carrying Sweet Tarts in your pocket.
Sweet Tarts are gas.
You just got dust.
It'd be weird if I said Smarties. That would be weird.
That's what I was thinking of, not Sweet Tarts. You're right. Yeah,
Okay.
Smarties. That's what I was thinking of. They are
would be weird.
very similar though.
Yeah, they have the ones that come in like a tube almost.
Yeah.
Like a wrapper tube. Yeah.
Well, good tangent to start the show. Happy Halloween,
go.
everyone. If you did drive to take your kids trick or treating, unless you went to a trunk or treat, which that's another thing. They have so many of those. Why are you driving to neighborhoods? Unless you went to a trunk or treat, we are not friends today. Tomorrow we can be friends.
Okay.
We're friends. We're buddies. We're pals, but not tonight. We're going to talk a little Kentucky preview. The Cats. Scratch them, as Austin White would say. And
Yes.
I guess Scratch is their mascot's name as well, right?
Yeah.
And I guess Scratch would probably say. Talk about the Wildcats coming to Knoxville. I hate that they got that win in 2020. That's so that because I was telling some. Sure, I mean, if we have to give up wins, we should have to also give up losses.
That's true.
So I think we give up that loss.
We trade those two, like those two
Yeah.
both don't count. Yeah, I'm good with that.
Sure. We also got some recruiting news. We had one name on here, and then moments, if you will, Tennessee lands another one. We'll talk about that. Talk some college football. Every week I'm like, oh man, it's not a great week in college football. And then I'm like, man, imagine what's going to happen though. That I didn't think. I mean, we were talking about Texas and Vandy being probably one of the best games of the week. I said that, and I mean, kind of had to based on how last week went. But I was also thinking, there's no way this is going to be a game. It just feels like Vanderbilt's due to finally blow up. And no, sure enough, it's a ball game.
Yeah, that was kind of a. We thought it was going to be a get right game for Texas, and it was not.
Yeah,
but they won. Survive and advance.
Survive and advance. My game of the week: Notre Dame Navy. People always warn me about the Navy. They always warned me, so
that was
didn't work out.
Big bet of mine over the weekend.
I don't like Ohio State. I've never liked Ohio State. I've never wanted Ohio State to win a game. I've never cheered harder against Ohio State though than this past Saturday.
Oh, against
and not until it looked like Nebraska could win. Before that, I just didn't care. Yeah. And then when it happened, it was at home. It would have been incredibly hilarious if they had lost that game to Nebraska.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for chaos. We need chaos to happen.
Waiting for it. It's here. It's arrived.
I need more of it.
We need chaos inside of chaos.
More at the top.
I'm going to be honest. I it'll probably be Tennessee that suffers the more chaos at the top. Now that I'm saying this, I don't exactly know how it could get more chaotic at the top than it is this year.
I guess like I need upsets to happen. Like chaotic is just like there's too many teams at the top right now. Like we thought, oh yeah, 9-3 might get you in at the beginning of the season. Now it's like 9-3, you're out.
We said 9-3 would be on the verge. You'd need things to
correct.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, now 10-2. I mean, people have
10-2 isn't guaranteed.
People have Tennessee on the outside looking in, which is wild to me. Looking at who Tennessee's wins and losses would be to, who others would be to. That's wild to me. But yeah, no, you're right. We talked about this. I think it was last Thursday. We talked about this. This is kind of how the 12-team playoff was promised to us. Not exactly this way, not quite as chaotic, but it was promised to us in the sense of it will make every week better. And I think part of it is there's no just dominant team. And in the next few years, dominant teams will come along and it won't be as much fun. But every week's been, okay, what's going to happen? Okay, didn't see that team winning, that team losing. Okay, who's going to be in the top? Like, how does this top 12 shake out now at the end of the year? I mean, we still don't exactly know. Usually I'd have to go back and look at previous years, but I feel like usually you had a really good idea who the number one non-Power 5 team was going to be, who the best of the non-Power 5 was. The year was Cincinnati that made the playoff. It was Cincinnati the whole year. Like that was this year. It could be any three teams. Like just last week, it was any of four teams. Then you had UNLV and Boise State play each other, knocked one off. Navy lost to Notre Dame, knocked one off. You still got three teams other in the race for that.
Yeah.
It's more fun.
Boise State, who would be the other one?
Army, Boise State, and
I guess technically Navy
Washington
will be in it.
Right? But if they but They could still be one of them. Washington State, 7-1. They just have to be the highest ranked non-Power 5.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize. I guess
they have to be a
this
conference
alignment's-
champion though too.
This alignment's crazy, so I wasn't aware that Washington State was not in a Power 5 conference or Power 4 conference anymore.
Yeah.
They the Mountain West. Is that what they're in?
No, they're still in the Pac-2.
Oh, gotcha.
So I guess they could. I don't know if you have to play a conference championship game. They're eligible though. I know to make the playoff, but I don't know how they would be. I guess they would just have to. They probably would have had to go undefeated. So they're probably out. So yeah, it's probably down to 2. And it looks like Boise State should kind of cruise. The rest of the way, I should say. But yeah, we'll see. Indiana. We'll get into more of it. We'll get it. I don't want to spoil everything here. I don't want to give you guys everything good, but before you jump into it, real quick, I'm going to tell you guys about Grade A Grounds. Grade A Grounds is, in my opinion, the world's best cup of coffee. Based out of Kingsport, Tennessee, locally brewed, local brand, owned and operated by 2 educators. Being educators, they obviously love their coffee. They know their coffee. If you know a teacher, you know they know their coffee. They need it. They also care deeply about giving back to their community. They give, to do that, they give a percentage of every single bag bought back to a organization called Coalition for Kids, based there in the Tri-Cities. You'll also see on each bag, the labels are made by students in those classrooms. It's a great way to kind of show off their artistic talents, but also kind of keep those people who are buying the bags tied in with the community as well. We love Grade A Grounds. I know you'll love it too. Volsicle's out. I still gotta get me a bag. I'm gonna go order one tonight before I forget. Try out the Volsicle, or my personal favorite, B is for Blueberry. I'm running low on that too. I just need to just double up on everything. Make sure you guys go check them out. Use promo code GOVOLS, capital G, capital V, GOVOLS for 10% off today. Before we get into it, enjoy this little intro by Levi Ogle.
Home run, slam dunks, give him 6. Boys at MII, they got your big orange face. All year long is the place to be, to hear some balls for life, talking Tennessee. You can hate us if you want, but we sure ain't worried about you. We got more important issues.
Shout out to Levi Ogle. As always, very much appreciate that song. And,
we need to get a spooky mode
of that made.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I think the spooky Rocky Top, I listened to it 2 days ago. It's really, really good. Don't get me wrong. It's very cool. Very neat. I feel like they should get someone who's very talented at remixing to really, really get into it and make that. Because it sounds more just like it's slowed down and then like a little bit of like a spooky overtone. I feel like someone could remaster it really well.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
I'm
like
crazy.
it. It gets me fired up. When I can hear it in the stadium, it does get me fired up.
I do think they need to chill out with it during the games.
You think it's too much?
Too much, yeah.
I like they're doing a big mix of like they're doing some of that. They're doing some third down for what?
I think third down for what should be played 2 times a game. And then once you get into the fourth quarter, use it more if you think you need to. Spooky Rocky Top once a game before Halloween. Then you can play it 3 times.
Okay.
It's just one of those things. Like Rocky Top's so good. You have a bunch of other stuff. You know, it's one of those things. I like it, but
Why do they never play
regular
regular Rocky Top to the speakers though, right? It's always the band.
Yeah, it's always the band. Yeah.
It'd be cool to like hear like Rocky Top the song, not to the band too.
Like the Osborne Brothers.
Yeah.
Sure. Why not?
All right.
They couldn't even figure out Dolly Parton through the speakers, Landon. Don't try that.
It's true. It's Kentucky week. It's dark mode. It's time to see how Tennessee responds after another bye week. last time. Wasn't great. But hey,
Being at home should help, right?
yeah, it's a new week. And as we've seen in college football, a new week means basically a new season for some teams. But with Kentucky right now, they are playing their worst football. And I would think Tennessee up to this point, I wouldn't say is playing their best, but they're definitely not playing their worst either.
Well, and they're playing their best in some areas, and on defensively,
Correct.
they're playing their best. It's
Right.
Can the offense pick up?
Yep.
And I would even like special teams, best maybe not, but like you're playing fine.
Mhm.
If you make 2 field goals against Alabama, you'd be playing excellent. They were 50+ yarders.
Yeah. Yeah, right now Kentucky's horrible offensively. They have no quarterback. You know, when you say you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none.
Well,
And I don't
they
even think
just
they have
none.
Yeah, they don't even have 2. Both of them suck. So they're bad right now.
Sure.
And it was like their defense is good, but then they gave up a ton of yards to the air against Florida. They gave up 48 points and then 5 touchdowns to a freshman running back at Florida. And then last week gave up over 300 yards on the ground to a terrible Auburn team.
I'm glad you mentioned DJ Lagway's day against Kentucky. I'm sure since you know how many yards he threw for, do you know how many passes he attempted and completed?
What was it, like 8?
He was 7 of 14, and he threw for 259 yards.
And that is a huge key and something to watch for Tennessee because since Josh Heupel has been here, I mean, he has feasted on Kentucky with big plays. There's wide receivers running open. You remember in 2021 with Javonte Payton, Velus Jones. You remember in 2022 with Jalen Hyatt. 2023, you had Chaz Nimrod running wide open. I mean, there's just been a ton of wide open plays against Kentucky. And I think something has to do with it's not the rivalry. I think Josh Heupel just hates the Stoops family so much that he's taken out on Mark Stoops too.
That's another thing I said to our buddy Austin today. I said, I really just like talking trash about Kentucky because of you, but also I love Josh Heupel and he hates Bob Stoops. Like all my homies hate Bob Stoops.
Yeah.
All my homies hate the Stoops. So I didn't not that I liked him or Josh Heupel, but now I do hate him.
Yeah, it's our boy. Like
I don't need a reason. I don't need to hear the story. You hate him, I hate him. I ride with you.
Exactly. Yeah. Girls.
Yeah. Exactly. And I do think, talking about how this Kentucky football team is just not a good football team. They're 3-5. They have to play Mississippi State at some point this year so that they can get state champ shirts. We got to get them state champ shirts. We got to get them something.
Oh, that would be cool.
Because they do have a win over Southern Miss and then Ole Miss as well, which is crazy because it looked like Ole Miss had an unstoppable offense. And we know, offenses, their defensive front's been solid. Now you mentioned giving up to Jarquez Hunter, who I think is the SEC leading rusher now with Dylan Sampson missing this bye week. I think he overtook it by like a few yards, not many.
Okay.
But had a career day in 278 yards. So they've struggled. Was it Bo, the freshman Bo for Florida? Had 5 touchdowns, but he had 109 yards on the ground, which
ball. Yeah.
Made for him ball. So they're not as good as they've been previously on the defensive front. They do have 20 sacks, which shocked me. I don't know the split. I don't know what the splits look like for those. Like, I don't know if they're racking up against Ohio and Southern Miss and I don't know what that looks like. I don't know. I mean, they somehow held Pavia to 53 yards rushing. So I don't know if they were able to take advantage of a guy loose in the pocket and rack up some sacks. But that did shock me to see they had 20 sacks because their pass rush isn't elite, I should say. They're good, but there's nothing that stands out to you on paper?
Well, and they have so many guys out this week too. Their starting edge is out. Their best linebacker is out. Their starting and best cornerback is out. Their backup running back is out. Starting right tackle, starting tight end is out. So I mean, there's just that. I think that's telling.
So
Having that many
you think they're
people
hanging it
out,
up?
I think they're on the verge of quitting. I think they're done. And I think this would just be the tip of the iceberg. I think this might be the final nail in the coffin of Mark Stoops.
You think they're ready I mean, I know one guy, but he's a more reasonable fan that's ready to sayonara. Do you think that's the athletic department? Do you think that's the majority of the fan base? Do you actually see being the final one?
We know what season's coming up. Basketball season's coming up.
So they're going to
with this. It's done.
Yeah, that's why I don't think they're going to fire him. They'll kind of forget he exists for 6 months.
Okay. That might be the case. I think a lot of Kentucky fans are done with the whole. I think they were kind of done when he was going to leave for Texas A&M, and then they didn't want him, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, I turned it down for you guys." Yeah, bullshit. So I think that was kind of.
I don't know if he turned him down. I don't know how real that was. That to me seemed more like an agent getting a extension raise than anything else.
I mean, I think it was kind of more of like a conversation with Texas A&M's ADs and their boosters and everything are like, nah, we don't want that.
Yeah, I don't think Texas A&M wanted him that bad, but I don't even know if I don't know if the conversation even existed.
Right.
I don't know if Mark Stoops necessarily even had interest more than.
But he kind of twisted it as like, oh, I turned them down. Whereas like, were you even offered the job?
Well, as we know with what's his name on Kentucky's roster, everybody there wants to be there.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, they're going to go 10-0, but now they're 3-5. So they got 2 more games left on the schedule. I guess that's a great point, Caleb. Thanks for bringing that up. Gerald Mincy told us that Kentucky was just going to play 10 games. So I guess he knew they're going to quit before.
So they have 2 games left.
Yeah.
Including this game and then one more.
Yeah. Or I mean, maybe it's not this one. Maybe they quit this one and come back next week.
I think they got one more after this. So I think they'll stay in it. But Gerald Mincy and Monty mentioned it here, so I'm gonna mention it real quick because I saw some people saying lay off him, blah blah blah. If he had transferred, didn't say a word, go on about your life. But I mean, he brought up Tennessee multiple times, and I know he's probably I get those guys are asked, they're set up to say dumb things about their former school, but they also get enough coaching before talking to the media that you should know it's like, yeah, it's all love there. Like, just did what was best for me. Instead of talking about how excited you are to come back and play. And then you're on the injured list. And I'm not saying people should attack him and do not DM players. Do not DM players. I see some people like, don't DM kids. Don't DM players. Just like you shouldn't rip the ball out of someone's glove in foul territory, don't DM players. It's not hard.
Can we just stop DMing people anyway?
Yes.
Like in general?
Yeah.
I think like there is nothing good that really happens in a DM.
And you're going to be blasted anyways. Your name's going to get out there anyways that you did it. So just, if you're going to say it, just tweet it at them so everybody can see it from the rip. And you look like, do you still look like a petulant child screaming? Yeah. But I mean, I guess I can at least say you put your name behind it.
Yeah.
Sure. Like you were willing to, as Eli Drinkwitz would say, stand on business. Yeah. I like how you dodged the Yankee thing. Do you ride with him?
With who?
The Yankee fan? Or do you ride with Mookie, VFL?
I mean, honestly, if I'm in that situation, I'm ripping that thing out too. So
I will say, you get ejected for that. You're probably banned from the stadium. If it had just been the first guy, I probably would have been like, that's funny. The second guy getting in on the action, I feel like we should get to see him stoned publicly in the streets of New York.
Yeah. He was just trying to cop a feel, I guess. I don't know.
I
his
think
deal was.
I think it became far too much when the second guy got in on the action.
Yeah.
First guy I kind of respect. You're trying to make a play, you know. Second guy, you're just it's like that's a late hit.
Right. I mean, the first guy I was like, oh, football guy. Like he saw the ball could be knocked loose and
See ball, go get ball.
Yeah, he was on it. I respect that.
Yeah. He saw Steve Bartman. He tried to make a play like Steve.
I mean, would anybody know who Steve Bartman was if it wasn't for that?
Would anyone know who Steve Bartman was if it wasn't for Steve Bartman? No.
If it wasn't for that play he made.
No, and I think he would prefer it that way.
Probably, but he is kind of famous, or at least known of.
Yeah, famous. I don't know if fame is the right word.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy that I don't think he is upset about, like, you have to know you're getting ejected in that moment. So if he's like, why did I get ejected? That's crazy. I'm not on his side if he has that feeling.
Yeah.
I did see someone in the one getting ejected. They're like, you got the wrong guy. And they may have been joking. And then I went back and watched the video again. I was like, no, that's definitely the guy. That's both of them. I mean, it's not hard to tell.
Yeah, they should have blamed it on a Dodgers fan.
I do think Mookie should be allowed to decide before he's ejected if he wants to drop the gloves, hockey fight that guy. It's not stop till it goes to ground.
Well, the call was out, right?
Yeah, no, it stood.
Yeah, so
But I think as a player, if you have a fan touch you while you're trying to make a play, I think you should get the decision of if you're going to fight him or not.
Yes, but I think a counterpoint to that is like that guy was also trying to make a play, and Mookie came in.
Yeah, go try out for the Yankees if he wants to make a play. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, I would.
What would you think if that was a Cardinals fan?
Doing what?
If that was a Cardinals fan.
I mean, you got caught, so can't get caught. If you're going to do something, you got to be sly about it. The guy wasn't sly about it. Or maybe he was, and his buddy coming in trying to call the field too did not help.
I feel like he should have tried to make a play on the ball earlier. I think he was late.
Obviously, and like if just go catch it. If you catch
that's what I'm
it,
saying. I think he's slow.
Yeah, yeah.
You might get fan interference, but you're not getting ejected for that.
Yeah, be a little better. Keep it within the wall. You can't go over the wall.
Yeah, sure.
Back to Kentucky a little bit. I know we kind of got off there.
We're just talking about some of the worst fan bases in the world.
Sure. Yeah, they line up. They line up. And so you weren't here on Sunday, but me and Joey were giving all the reasons why we hated Kentucky. And mine was the Volcat stuff. That is the worst.
Right.
Fan. I would rather you be a full-blown Kentucky fan than a Tennessee football and a Kentucky basketball.
Which I excuse me. I told Austin White, I was like, I think that's why my hate has died down for them, is because in the last 8 years or so, Volcats have kind of ceased to exist, which farther proves our point. You're a Volcat. Because even then, I don't accept like, oh, you know, I grew up in Knoxville, but my mom or dad went to UK. You still have to choose one. They're rivals. You have to choose one. But that's an excuse. Okay. But now that Tennessee's, you know, minimum 1-1 in Kentucky with Kentucky in the last, I don't know who it's favored towards, minimum 1-1. Now you're all of a sudden just a Tennessee fan? Nah. Volcat. And you're going to be a Volcat for life. Like you're a Volcat.
Mm-hmm.
I also can't stand there's Kentucky fans that live in Knoxville. And I get it. All your friends are Tennessee fans, but all you talk about is Tennessee all year long. You're a Tennessee fan. Shut up. Quit pretending you're a Kentucky
KSR.
fan.
I mean, they should be the flagship station of Tennessee.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't get it. if you're going to Landon, I don't follow a single team anywhere near what I follow Tennessee.
No.
I hate Alabama. I root against Alabama. I don't know what I mean. I often have to look on Saturday who they're playing. There are Kentucky fans that live here or have lived here that know exactly Tennessee's schedule. They know Tennessee players.
Yeah, probably.
I can name
starter.
a handful of Kentucky players. And even the years they're good, I can still only name a handful. But it's just the ones that were supposed to be good this year. I couldn't even remember the tight end that was supposed to transfer to Tennessee, who only has 54 yards receiving, by the way, this year. So, good decision, bro. Glad you wanted to stay at Kentucky.
Yeah, 5-star Brock Vandegrift coming in. We've seen how this works out, guys. I mean, they continue to get these quarterbacks that just.
But at least they got some good games out of Will Levis. Like they got good seasons out of Will Levis.
Oh, I know. That's
matter
the crazy part was like Will Levis has been the best thing. He's probably been the best quarterback they've had since who? Jared Lorenzen?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how far back to go in. I don't know how far back to reach in that one.
Because like I made the
a lot
point
of them
on
have
Sunday,
been wide receivers.
their best quarterback, their best quarterback was Lynn Bowden Jr. in the last probably 10 years.
I'm kind of curious. I don't remember the situation with. I know I don't remember how they used
Randall Cobb,
because I know as a freshman he played some, and then I know they had that package with him. But I think that guy, was it Mike Hartline? Mike Hartline was pretty good. 3,000 yards, 23 TDs, 9 interceptions his senior year, 2010.
Okay.
I was about to say Mike Hartline. Dude, after that, didn't Terry Wilson have a good year? Was that 2019 when he was having a good year?
Yeah, was that year where they were like, that was their best team ever?
That was Lynn Bowden Jr. as well. It was probably then.
He wasn't.
They had Andre Woodson.
Anyway.
Yeah, they had Andre Woodson, Jared Lorenzen, and then Tim Couch, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so it's Will Levis.
They're 124th in passing. There's 133 teams in the FBS. 124th. They got a 5-star quarterback playing for them.
What are they in rushing? I mean, their leading rusher has 419 yards.
I don't know. They're 121st in scoring. I can look up rushing real quick.
I mean, they're not a good. As
rushing, they are 53.
Okay.
53rd.
I would have thought it was farther back, but okay.
That's in rushing efficiency.
Okay. As I don't know if good's the right word. Decent. Their defense is decent. I mean, they gave up a lot to Florida. Of course, just getting beat by Auburn, period's not a good sign. Then they had that just whatever that week against South Carolina was. Just, I mean, Mark Stoops has lost that one-on-one with Shane Beamer, whatever it is. Talking about having someone's number. But as decent as this good in certain areas as defense is, I mean, their offense is equally as horrible. They're atrocious. Tennessee, if you think your offense is bad, sure. Not scoring in the last first halves, that sucks. But
3.
I mean, sorry, 3. I forgot about it. Yeah. That's bad, but I mean, at least you find it somewhere.
Yeah.
And I know we're going to get into game predictions later. I still think this is the week Tennessee scores 30 in this ball game. And I do think Tennessee has that. You talked about that get right moment. I think Tennessee's drive this week. I think the turnovers were done. You saw the last 2 scripted first drives. They would have been touchdowns.
I think that's got to be a huge key in this game. Go score early. Like go.
We want the football, right?
Yeah, go take the ball, go run it down their throats, and let's get an easy touchdown. I mean, you score 14 points.
Tennessee wins the toss. How would you like to? You have Dylan Sampson lean in. We want the ball. We want the football.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is a get right for this offense. I think he found something a little bit in the second half, whatever that is. Hopefully, Nico has just found some confidence, hit on some of those deep balls, and go score early. And I think you put this one away early. There's nothing that Kentucky has done over the past entire season offensively tells me that they can go score against one of the top defenses in the country.
Yeah, I feel like their path to scoring this week is
to just throw it up and hope that there's a pass interference or hopefully one of their – I mean, they have two really good wide receivers, but they can't get them the football.
Well, I was going to say Barryon Brown returns a kick. Like that's I feel like their path to scoring.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see them or a turnover in Tennessee territory.
Hopefully they're waiting at our tunnel again.
Yeah, that was a crazy move. Again, you know me, I don't get the whole like why give people bulletin board material, why give people something to like get fired up about. It's crazy to me. There's a few people who can do that. I mean, Michael Jordan's one of them. So, are you in that category?
People that are out. I'm like, I mean, who else? Who's playing? Who's playing quarterback is what I want to know, because the guy that they got playing right now is. I know Brock Vandegrift has been their quarterback. I assume it'll probably be him.
I think it starts Vandegrift, and I don't.
But is it Wimsatt?
I just feel like you see Gavin Wimsatt too. Like I feel like you have right, like.
I don't know. I mean, it gives teams something to like.
They just need to put it on tape, baby. Got to prepare for both.
But like, all he can do is run. He's like their third leading rusher, and he's thrown 8 times for 90. He's 8 for 20, 92 yards, 2 interceptions, 93 yards, 2 interceptions. I mean, he's horrible. He's one of the worst quarterbacks in the Big Ten. For 3 years.
So they have completed 20 sacks on the season. They've also given up exactly 20. Brock Vandegrift's been sacked 17 times.
Jeez.
It's not a fun pocket to drop back into.
I mean, Gavin Wimsatt has this is his completion percentage in 2021, 42.9, 2022, 44.8. 23, 47.8. Kentucky this year in 2024, 40% completion percentage.
That's consistency, baby. You can't break that up.
It is. But you go against a team like Jermod McCoy and Will Brooks. I mean, if we're just going to keep talking about guys.
Sir William Brooks.
Sir William Brooks. Is it Sir Robert William Brooks?
Yes, it is. If we want to be. Yeah, if we want to be birth certificate correct, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing too is making all those throws on the run. I mean, yeah, good. You're not even going to be able to sit back in the pocket and make them. I don't know what that percentage drops to. Do you think Brock Vandegrift still has the belt clip cell phone holder, or did that go away when he was like, "Oh, it wasn't me being the backup. I just am not good at this thing."
No, yeah, I don't know.
Like that felt like a bit to me. That felt like I'm like an old school gunslinging quarterback.
Right, and that's like, oh, it's not that funny anymore, and I kind of suck.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put it back in my pocket.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he got cashed in his NIL money and got some.
Right. I like that people pretend that cell phone belt clip holders are convenient, but they don't look cool. They're neither convenient nor do they look cool.
No.
Something is, I mean, maybe they were more convenient when they were the tiny little flip phones and like you couldn't feel it there. Can you imagine carrying around an iPhone on your belt clip? Why are you even wearing a belt? I mean, that's going to pull your pants down.
I love that people went in on Nico for wearing a skirt. And then we praise Brock Vandegrift for wearing
wearing whitewashed jeans with a belt clip.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
And a holster for your phone.
Crazy town.
Yep. I don't know. I think this is also if I'm Tennessee, I mean, I don't know how much they look at the national media. I'm sure some of them do, but they have been doubted the past 2 weeks.
Sure.
They beat Alabama. They're like, oh, it was at home. Maybe Bama's not that good. And there's still people that are like, oh, yeah, Iowa State, Pitt, teams like that should get in over you. I would take that to heart.
Yeah, I mean, it really just I get the here's what it is, Landon. Everyone loves the flashy offense. They don't want to see just offense. That, for whatever reason, you can grind out a defensive victory and people, oh, well, what about that offense? But then when all you have is offense, they're going, well, what's going to happen when you got to stop somebody? You can't have it all. All right. You can't have it all. But they do got to find, this offense has got to find ways to just be more efficient. Truly. We talked about it. Josh Pate thinks Tennessee left 24 points in the first half against Alabama. Should you have scored all 24? No, but should you have scored 10, 13 of those? You got to find ways. You got to find ways to dig deep and score. So I think that's it. Is just find a ways to be more efficient. I think the play calling was better against Alabama, so now you got to go execute. I think the offensive line play will have their fair share of. They'll be challenged this week, I think is the way to say it, because I do think they're getting better. So I don't know if it'll be stuff that, like, I don't know if they'll struggle because they'll struggle as much as they'll just be challenged in areas. You did mention it. Guy with 4 sacks is out.
JJ Weaver.
Yeah. So I mean, that'll lighten the load a little bit, but yeah, I mean, you'll be challenged. This is a solid defensive line. Like, they're fine. So play calling's obviously got to help you out there. Nico's got to help you out there. You got to find ways to, if it's not a clean pocket, give him good escape routes and find ways to be more efficient and be able to execute the play calls. And then, I mean, Dylan Sampson's going to take quite the load off of that line with what he's going to do. I also think this feels like a week that I think Dylan Sampson has a career day, because that's just the trend right now for Kentucky. But I think this is going to be another game that people are going, Deshaun Bishop. I think he'll get his due. And Chase Brown's been the one, Chase Thomas has been the one harping on this one, how we got to lighten the load of Dylan Sampson. I think they give Deshaun Bishop. I think if Cam Seldon's getting healthier, which it looks like, he'll get more than 3 carries. I think it's the most he's gotten in a game. Is that right?
Who?
Cam Seldon.
Yeah, I mean, I
can't remember who was that. Florida. They gave him the ball 3 times.
Yeah, maybe.
So I think he probably gets more than 3 carries, but I do think you see just I don't think it's going to take just Dylan Sampson. I think he'll have his day, but I think Tennessee fans will remember what we loved about Deshaun Bishop, since we haven't seen him in a few games.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's crazy that, Kentucky's always been pretty good at stopping the run. They usually have a good defensive front.
For Jabari Small.
That, yes. And last year, Dylan Sampson had like 75 yards rushing. He had a drive that was the difference in the ball game. That was literally just him.
Yeah.
Nobody else. So want to continue to use him in a bunch of different ways. And yeah, you probably don't want him carrying the football 30 times.
Right.
But the man's had 2 years to kind of sit and wait for this moment. Whatever. If he wants to go get 279 yards like Jarquez Hunter did last week, sure, go do it.
He did.
That's cool with me.
How many carries did he end up with? It really wasn't like a crap ton, but it was quite a few. 28, 27? Year? No, Jarquez Hunter.
Oh yeah, it was quite a bit. But they were down and they just kept running the football, and Kentucky's like, gash me. I'm cool.
Yeah, Kentucky got out to a 10-0 lead in that game.
Yep.
He only ran the ball. I say only. He ran it 23 times. That's not a whole lot when you're talking about 278 yards.
Yeah. I'm cool with that. If Dylan Sampson wants to do that this week.
He gets a combo. He goes 278, 5 tutties.
Yeah. I'm just thinking like this is a game also where I think you can work on your passing game a little bit. That's the one thing kind of holding you back. The running game is there, and obviously you're going to lean on that. Fine. But this is a game where like, hey, let's see exactly what we have at receiver because we're a little shaky right now, not super healthy. Let's see what we got a receiver. Also, like let's do some things that work. Like last Saturday when you played Alabama, well, I mean, we've been saying it on the show for years, it feels like. Throw the slant. And we did it. And we kept doing it. And it kept working. Throw the slant. Do the small things that and let your guys go pick up yards that way.
Right.
Like it doesn't have to be a huge play. Like use the hitch routes where, we pick up 5 or 6 yards, and maybe break a tackle over there at that cornerback and, get 10, 15 yards on a play like that. I just think you need to utilize kind of that short passing game and let it turn into some bigger. You have good athletic receivers. I think you need to let them work a little bit more than you are. Use Dante Thornton. I mean, he can take a slant to the house. We've seen it. So I want to see more of Dante Thornton. I mean, do we see more of Mike Matthews? I hope so. I mean, to this point, I just don't know because I feel like you could have used them the last 2 games and haven't. But I think you see what you got and let Nico just continue to get more comfortable within himself and the offense. Seems like something clicked at that Alabama. I don't know if it was just him getting hurt and be like, okay, I didn't die. I'm fine. And go in and have some confidence about him. But if that's what it takes for him to get hit, call a quarterback design run the second play or something.
Just run him into a one technique.
Yeah.
Let him feel something.
Yeah. Whatever. I mean,
or maybe he's like the John Henderson. He just needs to get like slapped around a little bit before he gets out there.
Yeah, there you go.
A little shot of Hennessy. And
don't butt fumble it. But if you want to go Mark Sanchez and run into Javonte Spraggins one time, I'm cool with that.
Run into. He seems like someone that would hurt. I don't know. I don't know if there's anybody on that offensive line I would choose.
Maybe Cooper. You just kind of
Cooper's got that like. Cooper's got like that teddy bear look about him.
Okay. What about Larry Johnson? We put him out here. Yeah, he's kind of a teddy bear kind of looking guy. Maybe we run into him or something.
Yeah, I like that. That's no knock. I don't think Cooper Mays plays like a teddy bear. That's why I went for the grizzly bear. But yeah, no, I don't know if it's Javonte Spraggins. I don't know if I'd run into him. He's also just like a wide human being. Like he was born to play guard. Kind of like Trey Smith. They're like half their size and their width.
Shorter arms.
I love that. I love like a Trey Smith, someone just getting obliterated by him.
Yeah, I love that we have like literally you can tell who a tackle and a guard is by their hand and their wingspan.
You going off like Sandra Bullock's definition of a left tackle?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like
feet as quick as a hiccup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you gotta have a wide base.
You need to just learn that entire intro, and then you can do that every time you break down a tackle recruit.
Yeah, I don't really know anything about tackles. I just know that usually they're bigger than guards.
You don't know much about a tackle, but like a tackle when you see him. Like you're like, yeah, that's a tackle.
Mm-hmm. But I do love how we have like, oh, this guy's a 4-star tackle. Oh, we're recruiting him as a guard. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, Fine, but why is he rated a tackle if we're going to play him?
Well, you're not gonna in high school. And depending on what team you're on, like your best offensive lineman, you're not gonna stick him at right guard.
No, I know, but when they're rated as a 4-star offensive tackle,
Yeah, but if you played that your whole career, you go to camps as that. How else would you get rated?
right? But just because he plays offensive tackle in high school doesn't. I mean, that's what you're saying, right? Just because
Yeah.
he plays offensive tackle. Yeah, I'm not saying that because you have guys that are playing quarterback that are probably like an athlete or a safety.
Yeah, Juwan
At
Jennings.
the next level. Yeah, sure. There's a lot of people that want him to play quarterback.
I think he worked with the quarterbacks when he first got to campus.
Okay.
I think he wore in his first spring. I think he wore a gray jersey. Did he not?
Well, I could have saved him a lot of time because I watched him play in that All-Star game, and I'm like, nope, not a quarterback.
I also would have never guessed he was a wide receiver, though.
That's true. Yeah, running a 4.8 40.
Yeah,
in the SEC.
Wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
hey.
in that case, I could have been if I was a lot better, stronger, and
if I was Juwan Jennings, I could have been an SEC wide receiver.
Yeah. That was the only thing we had in common is we both ran like a 4.7 4.8 40.
Yeah, hand timed, of course.
Correct.
Which everyone knows is slower, always. I think if you showed me NFL, if you just scrolled through NFL and Power 5 offensive linemen and you made me name interior or tackle, because centers get dicey. Centers are they usually have a similar build, but you'll run into some oddballs. But I think I could go 10 for 10 tackle or interior lineman if I didn't know who they were.
No.
Show me like a full image. You can block out the number because I feel like that's another thing. You can tell a tackle number versus a guard number pretty often.
It's also hard when they play like a wing T offense, though. Like trying.
Yeah, but that's not happening in Power 5. And
well, Jesse Perry, he played in a single wing, triple option offense in high school, and we recruited him as a tackle. And apparently, he was one of the guys that could have been the second string, I guess, but didn't.
Was he a guard in high school?
I don't know. I
feel like it does get dicey, but you're getting an athletic guy that's pulling a lot. But again, he probably has that build like a tackle.
Yeah, like Trey Smith had, like he came in and you're thinking he's he played a lot of tackle too, didn't he?
Yeah, but those are just wide shoulders. Like you just knew that guy was built to be a guard.
I thought Wanye Morris probably would have been a guard.
Wanye Morris looks like a guard.
Darnell Wright is a tackle for sure.
Darnell Wright's got that thin frame with wide arms. He's a tackle.
Yeah. Juwan James, tackle.
Yeah.
Spraggin's definitely a guard.
Lance Hurd he's a dicey one. I feel like he's pretty close to a guard build.
Okay. Well,
I feel like it might prove me right when
shape.
In the NFL they might be true. He just doesn't look. I think he's. I don't know what his measurables are, and I'm comparing him against the rest of the offensive line. But I feel like he's got a really, really wide. You know the shoulders I'm talking about, but it's not just their shoulders; it's hips and everything. I feel like he's just got that wide build about him.
Yeah, guard, you're more like a block.
Yeah, but you can move, baby.
Yeah, you're like a center block. A tackle is going to be more of like a railroad tie.
Yeah. Exactly. We need to bring back a pulling center. If I don't see Cooper Mays pull one time, I'm going to lose my mind.
I love that that's kind of the position that everybody that's like the least recruited, least drafted position on offense, but like in our offense, it's probably the most important besides the quarterback.
I would argue just about every offense. I would say the center is the most underrated hardest position on the field to play.
Yeah. I don't know why it's so. Why is it so under recruited?
I think
Not
it's
really drafted.
I
Because
think
you can
it's
turn guards into centers.
I think there's very few centers who like are lifelong centers. Like they kind of find out they're centers
Okay.
either in college or, it happens in the NFL sometimes. I don't know the exact reasoning, but I feel like it's a thing you kind of find out. But I feel like a lot of people think snapping the ball is the hardest part of being a center, and I think it's a really, really hard part. But I think it's one of like I feel like there's probably 7 guys on every football team that at the end of the day they could snap the ball decent.
Yeah.
Like they could get the ball back there just about every time. Obviously not at Alabama, but I don't know why that is. I feel like it's much more about the pre-snap. The center is rarely head up with someone. So then it's about you going to the right spot after, whether that's help, climb, whatever it may be, depending on the play. So I feel like you're tasked with a lot of thinking, not just for yourself too, but also for yourself.
Yeah. You got to be smart to play center. I don't know if you have to be super smart to play.
And you have to be smart, concussed a lot of the time because you're just banging heads every single play of the football game.
Probably good at math. It's a lot of angles.
Yeah. Yeah. Geometry is a factor.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else for Kentucky?
Not really, other than, listen, I love Josh Heupel. You heard me. All my homies hate the Stoops. Like I ride or die with that guy. And let's see what happens. This isn't just for Josh Heupel. This is for every Tennessee football coach until the end of time and prior. Look at the history. Losing to Kentucky is a fireable offense. Don't do it. Tennessee does not lose to Kentucky. I'm not saying you fire him if he loses. I'm just saying, look at the history. I feel like that should be on, like, if I'm a Tennessee coach, like, that is written on my whiteboard. The moment, like, Alabama game ends, I walk into my office, I erase it, and I'm like, Tennessee does not lose to Kentucky. And then we do everything in our power never to lose to Kentucky.
Well, Tennessee doesn't lose in Neyland. Period.
Sure. But
and then they especially don't lose to Kentucky, period. So we are not losing in Neyland to Kentucky, period.
Do you know the last coach to lose to Kentucky and not get fired?
I don't.
Let me double check this.
If you lose to Kentucky, assistant coaches, you're up for grabs. We've seen it before.
The last coach to lose Kentucky and not get fired, you have to go all the way back to 1984. Johnny Majors, and that team went 7-4-1. That was prior to that. Dooley lost in not his second to last year. Sorry. And then that was Jim Chaney's lone head coach win. Was over Kentucky. Yeah. Butch Jones lost in his last year, and Jeremy Pruitt lost in his last year. So,
job killer.
And Derek Dooley probably should have been fired in 2011. They should have been hired, but we won't go back that far.
Right. Yeah, that's a whole other podcast. You want people to take you seriously. I do think this is a time where you show some growth in the offense. I think there's a lot of doubt going on with you making the playoffs. And also, I kind of want to ask you this question. Do you think if Tennessee hits on some of those big plays against Alabama, they win by 2 or let's say 2 scores, maybe 13, 14 points? Is the perception different when you're looking at like playoffs?
Everything else remains the same. Arkansas and Florida happen the same way.
Yeah.
I don't think so, because I think it's going to be more about the next game. So it would have been more about, like, can they continue that against Kentucky? Because for me, I feel like I'm putting a lot on this where I'm going, Tennessee doesn't lose to Kentucky. That's circled on my board. It's a fireable offense. Mississippi State, I think getting the offense right for me is much more critical to that Mississippi State game than it is the playoff game or the playoffs. I think you got to get it right this week, because you don't want to go into a game like Mississippi State where that's not a good football team, but it is a team that can score. And I'm not saying they score 40 or even 31 like they did on Georgia. They can. 28 like they did on Florida. 24 against A&M. Like, I don't know if they score that much, but also similar to Josh Heupel, like it's a play away. Like they're big play. They live and die by big plays. I don't think you want to go into that game thinking, can you hold them to this much? You want your offense to be clicking. So I think the Kentucky, like you said, this is a get right game, but then it's more about, can you do that the following week? And I think for me as a fan, I would feel better if you start getting right now and look to continue that against Mississippi State rather than, all right, can they do it next week? Because I think this is a tough defense. If Tennessee's offense, so I'm going to draw up a similar scenario, a little bit different. Let's say Tennessee scores, they hit on those big plays, 2-score game, 13, 14 points. Same thing against Florida. They had a few big plays they missed on. They fumbled the opening drive. Same thing. Let's say they won that one by 2 touchdowns. And then you roll into Kentucky and you struggle against their defense. You kind of look similar to Alabama game. You score 24-28, beat them by 7 or 10. I'm probably going, that's a tougher that's a tough defense you face. It's just one of those nights. And I'm not worried about Mississippi State in terms of, oh man, if they hit on some big plays, that's a ball game. Like that's going to be a competitive game. But since you haven't done that the previous 3 weeks, I really think you got to get the ball rolling here and then try to find that downhill moment, not downhill for your offense, but where the ball just starts momentum tumbling against Mississippi State.
Yeah, like I definitely think it would give me more confidence in it for sure. I think everybody kind of agrees with that. I think from a national media perspective, like you're looking at teams like, oh, what did they do against this team and that team and whatever. But the big thing coming out of the Alabama isn't the same Alabama.
Yeah. I don't think beating Kentucky by 25 will change that, because you still have Georgia in a few weeks. I think the conversation, no matter what happens at Kentucky, unless you lose and then that Tennessee's done, and understandably, in the national media eyes, understandably so. Obviously, you could still sneak in a way. But I think even if you won, Tennessee could win by 45, and I think it'll be, well, let's see how they handle that. Let's see what they do in Athens.
Mm-hmm.
I think no matter what, that's going to be the conversation nationally. And
yeah,
kind of fair, because that is the game. Like that's the one Tennessee's rightfully kind of eyeing.
It's going to be a wait and see, but like right now, it feels like everybody's like, Tennessee's going to have 2 losses at the end of the year.
Right. I don't think.
And so if you're hanging 45 on Kentucky, a team that took Georgia to the wire, I feel like there is some people who are like, maybe Tennessee has figured it out and they can go in there and beat Georgia.
Sure. But I also think right now Georgia would thump Ole Miss, and that Kentucky Ole Miss game was, Ole Miss just gave it away. Like it should have been close.
Yeah.
I don't think Kentucky, that team that played Georgia close, had any business losing at Florida, let alone by 28.
Yeah.
I think the transitive property I think is always bad. I think it's especially bad this year, and people still use it.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should look at every team's wins and losses, and that's like that. Texas A&M staying ranked behind Notre Dame because they lost in week 1 to them is crazy to me. There's zero doubt in my mind who the better team is.
Yeah.
Is that like I mean I think,
But it's also crazy. Like it can be like one half. Like I mean,
Yeah.
Texas A&M looked like they were going to get blown out by LSU, and then they come back in the second half and
but I think
destroy.
when you look at rankings, you rank them week by week. I think when you look week to week, like right now, I think Texas A&M is a better ball team. I don't care who lost in week 1. One team didn't lose to Northern Illinois.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I
Yeah.
think right now, because of what Texas A&M did to LSU, they are thought of to be more deserving than Tennessee is.
Maybe I haven't necessarily gotten that. I mean, they're still ranked behind Tennessee, but
I just like keep looking at the prediction, like the playoff predictions, and a lot of people are leaving Tennessee out. They're saying,
but
so
the
I guess
way
we're
it
kinda-
shakes out to, and I guess we'll find out if playing that extra game benefits you. The way it shakes out right now, like Texas A&M would be playing in the SEC championship game if predictions happened how they happened. I don't know if that has something to do with it. So I don't know if I don't know.
So if they beat Texas, or let's say they lose to Texas,
It'd
it'd be Texas and
and Georgia beat us. It'd be a 3-way tie.
okay.
And I think if I remember correctly, what I read, it would be A&M and Texas. I think at that point, based on tiebreaker as it stood.
So right now it looks like if every team wins out, it's the winner of Tennessee, Georgia, the winner of Texas A&M, Texas will play in the SEC championship. Is that right?
If all 4 of those stood, yes, because you'd have head-to-heads.
Okay.
Wait, no, because each team would have one SEC loss at that point, so you'd have a 4-way tie, right?
Well, I'm talking like, well,
No, Georgia would have 2 SEC losses. They lost to Alabama. Sorry,
yeah, if Tennessee
and
lost,
Texas would have 2 to Georgia. Yeah, so if Tennessee won out and A&M won out, yeah, it would be them. Yeah.
What if Georgia and Texas?
Texas has to beat Texas A&M to force that 3-way tie, is what it is.
Okay, but they would have head to head, so they would get it right.
They would be first place. Georgia would be second. There's a way talking about how the rematch would happen if Georgia won out. How Texas A&M rematch would happen. I guess it would be us beating Georgia and losing somewhere else, I guess. And then maybe Texas would get in over us. I don't remember. I saw it. I saw a way for that rematch to happen, but I can't remember now where I saw that and what it was.
Okay. That's kind of what it looks like to me is
those 2 winners are probably going to be it. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. If we can get in at 10-2, I would love that bye week.
Sure. Yeah.
Obviously, if that's up in the air.
Before we get into, we're going to get into this again. Let's do our predictions real quick.
I've got Tennessee's offense getting it together this week. I don't know how I assume you have them getting together. I don't have them fully getting it together, but I have them getting it together. They hit on more plays. I say fully. They scored 24 against Alabama. I've got them scoring just 10 more against this Kentucky team. I've got it 34-10 Tennessee.
Okay. That's pretty funny. I have 34-13.
Okay. Two field goals or a missed extra point?
2 field goals. Max Gilbert.
Well, Kentucky.
Oh, Kentucky. I've 2 field goals.
Okay. Be a missed extra point in the south end zone would get me riled up, buddy.
Yeah, I think it's 34-6, and then they score a garbage touchdown.
I would like to hear. We had Aaron Medley on a few years ago. We didn't ask him this. I would like to hear, all the fans start the waving. I'm not convinced that does much to a kicker. Similar to, I'm not convinced that there's a lot of things that go on behind a backboard that mess up free throws. The only person I can think is Wild Dan in the Utah State student section. He's the only one I think that could actually distract a.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
I'm not encouraging women to do this. If I was a woman, I would 100% flash behind the backboard and the field goal. Like that's your only hope of distracting someone, right?
I guess, but what if it's like
I'm not encouraging it. I'm just saying
I'm trying to impress her, and then you make it.
Oh, you think it could rile some people up?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're assuming that's the opposing fan, and that would just hurt your chances. You know my rule about especially Alabama fans. So I just want to piss people off, but that's beside the point. All right, tell us your your score predictions, game day predictions. I think I feel pretty good about 34-10. I think I'm gonna ride that all the way to Saturday. I like you're giving them a little bit more because I thought about 34-17 was in my mind. I don't know if I'll give them more points by Saturday, but I feel pretty good at Tennessee at 34. So
yeah, I like that. Yeah, get the offense going a little bit more. Just more confidence as we continue on the rest of the season. Stay healthy, I think, is a big thing. Kentucky's not been able to do that, it looks like, or they've quit. We don't know. We'll find out on Saturday. Guys, go check out roback.com. Use promo code More Important Issues for 20% off your first purchase. They have the best quality clothing, polos, joggers, hoodies, T-shirts, shorts, pants, whatever you want, they got it. They also have women's wear. So go check them out. Use promo code More Important Issues for 20% off your first purchase. It's getting into Christmas time, so don't wait any longer. Go ahead and get those Christmas presents done and go get them at Roback.
do it.
All right. Let's we got some recruiting, and then we're going to get into some more college football because the college football playoff, I mean, I didn't realize like how much content is going to come out of it. It's like the bracketology. It's every week now. We're like, oh my God, who's the 12 teams?
Hey, real quick before I forget, I do want to mention the Lady Vols scored 135 on Landon's Carson Newman Eagles tonight in an exhibition. They also, in a super secret scrimmage, beat number 15 UNC. I love that they call them secret scrimmages. That's my favorite thing ever. It's like an inside joke for entire basketball programs. What was that score? 96-79. Sources confirmed.
Okay.
Yeah. So Kim Caldwell.
Hey, she can score.
Oh, we know that.
That's yeah, that's great news. I love that. Basketball season is here. And you're welcome. Kentucky. Kentucky. We're gonna get you to basketball season a little bit earlier after Saturday. So just keep an eye out for that. Yeah, some recruiting news. So Tennessee had a big day in recruiting. First, we go to the 2026 class and 4-star wide receiver Tyreek King out of Knoxville, Tennessee. Attends Knoxville Catholic, one of the best players in the state. On3 has him ranked as the number 3 player in the state, number 6 wide receiver, and number 60 player in the class. I don't know if you got to watch any of the highlights that we posted today, but the kid is fast.
Yeah.
And can really go up and get the football. He's listed at 6 foot, 170 pounds. But just one of the best players in the state of Tennessee. I've heard somebody say he's the best player in the state of Tennessee, and there's no debate. So there you have it. I'm going to go with that. And I don't think it hurts that you have you're starting. We were talking about centers earlier. You're starting center, a 10 Knoxville Catholic. I know that the Knoxville kind of recruiting bed has been a little weird for Tennessee. Like it's been a kind of, no, I'm not going there. I'm going somewhere else, and I'm going to have this all world career. you look at Randall Cobb, you look at T. Higgins, Amari Rogers didn't end up coming to Tennessee. That everybody thought was kind of a laydown. But I do think it is really cool to see guys like Deshaun Bishop and Cooper Mays come here and have successful careers. So I think it means a little bit more to them. Also, it's a lot easier to get your family here. So I know that's big for them as well. So Tennessee landed Tyreek King and looks like a big-time playmaker at that kind of loaded young receiver room we'll have.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you landed a 2025 linebacker, flipped Brendan Inez from Wisconsin. He's out of Page High School in Franklin, Tennessee, 6'2", 205. Kind of a do-it-all linebacker at Page. I think he wears like number 40, so he kind of looks the part. I kind of like an old-school linebacker number. So, yeah, you kind of flip him. Wanted to add another linebacker in this class and, to go with Jaden Harmon and Christian Gass, and you land Brendan Inez, who I think visited last week along with Austin Howard. So it looks like that spot is now taken from Inez, and I think he's listed as the number 19 player in the state of Tennessee. So just continuing that in-state recruiting and, hitting up that mid-state for another linebacker is pretty big.
Yeah, no, you love it. And I like where this linebacking recruiting has been going. So sign me up.
Yeah, William Inge has been a pleasant surprise for me.
Oh, so, yeah. And not that I was similar to my feelings about Josh Heupel. I was like, we'll see, whatever. I'm not crazy, happy about it, not upset.
Yeah. Didn't really know a whole lot about it.
Pleasant surprise is a good way to put it, for sure.
Yep. All right, let's get into some college. I do have a question.
Okay.
Gut reaction right now, don't really think about it. Does Tennessee make the playoffs?
Yes. I think the 10-2 Tennessee outside looking in is a drum up clicks. I think they make it 10-2.
Okay.
No matter what the other side does.
I think I'm with you. But also I would like to not be, have a cheek clincher at the.
Sure. I know as a Tennessee fan that it would be the most Tennessee thing to miss it at 10-2. It would blow my mind if the second loss where everyone in the country assumes it's coming. I don't know how you miss it at 10-2.
Right. Because you have that thing where 2 years ago you lost at South Carolina and somehow Alabama was ranked ahead of you.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Or no, Alabama was ranked ahead of us after we lost to.
Yeah. But still, same amount of losses, and then but they have the really, really bad loss. Vanderbilt, no matter what, is worse loss than Arkansas. Don't care what it looks like.
Yeah, you have that
team
over
lost
Alabama.
to Georgia State.
The good thing about it, you need Alabama to keep winning, and I think you need Arkansas to try to keep winning. That's just going to help you later on. Hopefully, the Big Ten, hopefully they figure themselves out. It looks like there's 4 teams right now that can really get in. I think you need that to get to 3 somehow.
Yeah.
And then the Big 12, you need one of those teams to get in and not BYU and who's the other one? Iowa State.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah. And then ACC, you need to have it figure itself out because that would be, let's say SEC gets. We'll say ACC gets 2, and then you have the Group 5. That'd be 3. Say you have 4 Big Ten teams: the Indiana, Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon. Which I don't think all those teams get in, but let's say for this, the Notre Dame probably gets in because they don't play nobody, and they're going to forget about that Northern Illinois loss. That's 8. Then you have the Big 12, BYU or Iowa State. Say they get 2, that's 10. Or say they just get 1, that's 9. So that gives you 3 SEC teams to make 12.
Okay. Yeah.
So Texas, Georgia looks like they're 2 teams, and then Texas A&M, Tennessee. So gonna need some help for sure. I think you really want South Carolina to beat Texas A&M this week. That's a big one. You want Alabama to beat LSU because I think they're technically still in it. But if you keep having Alabama win, that win gets better and better.
Yeah, but I mean, even LSU, obviously, probably your best win would be pretty similar in Alabama, but LSU's one of their losses is to USC, who just as bad as Arkansas.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
Then they give up and end up losing give up a lead in the fourth quarter, end up losing by what, 15 to A&M?
I just worry because they finish if they win out, they finish ahead of you in the SEC. Does that have any impact on that? It shouldn't, but
yeah. Yeah.
They also beat Ole Miss
by 3, who lost Kentucky.
Mm-hmm. They also beat Arkansas.
Yeah. I don't see how that could be an automatic eliminator though for Tennessee over LSU or LSU over Tennessee.
Right. I'm with you. I'm just, again, battered Vol syndrome.
If there's a way, Tennessee will be kept out, but
yeah.
I also think there's still a lot of football left. Like, I don't know how many
you want Penn State to win this
deserving
week too.
Who?
Penn State. That would give Ohio State 2 losses, no good wins. How
Right.
would you put them in over Tennessee if that's the case?
Yeah, I mean, fair. Yeah. I think who's Penn State have left? Is there a way they could end up with 2 losses?
They have nobody left.
Whoa. They have Minnesota and Maryland.
Yeah.
Who did Maryland beat? Was that
I
USD?
think that's why you want Penn State to win, because of like who they have left on the schedule.
Right. Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to shake out weird, but I think that loss to Arkansas was bad, but don't give up another bad one, and I think you'll be okay. Win the rest of the games you're supposed to.
Yeah.
And I think you'll be okay. I think it'll work itself out.
I think style points would be nice too.
Style points would be good at this point. Yeah, for sure.
Also, like if you drop one to Georgia, I think you do have to make that a game.
I think it has to be. I think that's kind of the caveat to, does Tennessee get in at 10-2? That can't be a Georgia blowout. Even if you do what Texas did and mount something late that looks like a comeback, I don't even think you can do that. I do think that has to look like a quote unquote good loss.
Yeah. Or just go beat them.
That would be preferred, Landon.
Yep.
That would be preferred.
Now, I love that we're talking about, a lot of people are talking about like who can end up 10-2 and just assuming Tennessee is going to go 10-2 when, hey, this defense.
They're going 11-1.
This defense, offense just got to execute a little bit better. And we got a football team.
All right. Yeah. We're right there. We're right there. Start it this week. You can't peak this week, but start it this week.
Mm-hmm. Another night game in Neyland. What do we have for college football this upcoming week? Obviously Ohio State, Penn State.
Guest picker Keegan Michael Key.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I just saw that announced. And then can I read you this headline that I saw as well while I was keeping an eye out for a stupidity?
Okay.
I actually need to send this to you so you can just pass it along to you know who. Columbus Dispatch. Ohio Stadium felt more like a morgue than a fun fan experience Saturday against Nebraska. Why can't the shoe be more like Oregon's Autzen Stadium? That doesn't sound like a top 7 environment in the country to me. That's a hometown team right in that one.
Yikes.
Detrimental. It did. I will say that game looked like the late in the fourth quarter. You know what it reminded me of? That Ohio game we won like 17-14 a few years ago. Like everyone was kind of like cheering when something good happened, but no one like really wanted to cheer, you know?
I have a video from that day where I'm literally burnt to a crisp and I'm like walking down the ramp and I like have the phone up and I'm just like, I waited and burnt to a crisp for that shit.
For that. Yeah.
Those games like that make you like contemplate like
being a fan of anything. Like, why do I even watch sports?
What is life?
Yeah. Arkansas and Ole Miss do play this week.
Who you got? Ohio State, Penn State in that game?
Penn State.
They gotta win a big one before I'm picking them in any big game.
I mean, I think Ohio State narrowly gets it, but I wish I was, talking about what's good for Tennessee. And I know Penn State fans wish it this way. I wish that was a night game in Happy Valley, man. That sucks.
Ooh, you're almost into my stupidity territory. Did you hear James Franklin's rant?
Oh, about how many night games they get?
Oh, he was like, there is nothing in the country better than Happy Valley at noon. I was like, I mean, that's not true at all.
I can think of like 13 places off the top of my head. One of them is that that grilled cheese restaurant in Fayetteville, Arkansas. That place at noon rocked.
I'm just thinking of like, what about Happy Valley at night? Is way better than Happy Valley at noon.
Right. Maybe you just
3:30.
Maybe you just meant noon anywhere in the world. Like there's no place better than Happy Valley. Which, hey, if they can get up for a nooner, good for them.
We need to look up like why is it called Beaver Stadium?
Dude, I don't know anything about that place.
Maybe Joey does.
I'm sure. I mean, I could probably just look it up real quick.
I mean, maybe if Joey would show up to one of these shows, we could ask him questions about
birthday for like 2 weeks. Happy birthday, by the way, Joey. Even though it was like a week ago. I also asked when I asked when is your actual birthday, he just never responded. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
It's too busy celebrating. Lowest top 25 ticket. Can you guess?
Lowest top 25. Can I look up the games real quick? Because I can't remember who all. There's not a plethora of top 25 matchups.
It's just a top 25 team.
Right. I'm just saying, like, there's not a ton of top 25 matchups. I think it's just 2. It's either going to be, is it Minnesota, Illinois? Air Force Army might be a decent ticket.
Which one did you say? Illinois? They're not ranked, are they? Oh yeah, they are.
Yeah, they're 24. Minnesota at Illinois.
That's close. It's 35, but it's not it.
Lower. Miami's at home. It might be Miami.
22. That's
the lowest.
That's second.
That's second. Mm-hmm. Who's the lowest?
Kansas State, Houston. $5 will get you in.
Is it at Houston?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ross
That kinda
Kidd
makes
left,
sense.
and that place went to hell.
Yeah, that place is done. $5. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, look at Miami. I think that's the second week I'm like, yeah, got to be Miami, and it wasn't. So credit to them. Which reminds me, speaking of ACC, it is time for who does Stanford play this week? They travel in the ACC.
Oh, I know this one. Oh, it is. They are going to Raleigh, North Carolina, to take on NC State.
Yeah, hopefully that runway is big enough. Shout out to James Franklin again. They head to Raleigh this week. Yep, that's right. Dude, I bet these players. I'll be asking if I can put these on my Amex to get those miles.
Yeah, get those points for sure. World Traveler.
Do want to talk about the Florida Georgia game only because they're scared to play away. Those two teams are terrified to play in the opposing team stadium.
You know what's better than Happy Valley at noon is Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville at 3:30.
I get hanging on to the tradition. I do. Like, I get it. I'm not a part of it that you're all saying. I do think every other year would be a great solution to that. How can you call it a rivalry and never play in the other team's stadium? That's crazy to me. And then Jacksonville's going to be closed. Everbank's going to be closed for the next 2 years. And instead of saying, oh, this is for 2 years, so we can play home and home, one at each stadium. That's easy. It's not going to be closed for one, and then we got to – if it was one, I'd understand. But it's going to be closed for 2 years, and you're like, oh, let's find 2 random NFL stadiums to play in. And you're playing at an hour drive from Athens. You might as well play.
Yeah.
What are we doing? That's crazy, dude. Crazy.
Yeah, that whole like giant cartel, like it just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. But whatever. They can have their fun going to Jacksonville, Florida. I mean, that's another thing. Like if you're gonna do that and like at least go to a decent city.
They've played at on-campus stadiums just 7 times since 1933. That's embarrassing. I'm really glad Tennessee doesn't have a neutral site they play every year against your biggest rival.
Yeah, I mean, no wonder like Georgia crapped their pants when they went to Tuscaloosa in that first half.
Yeah.
I mean, they get to play like what? I mean, before, like when you have more SEC games or face SEC teams, they play maybe once a year in a hostile environment. If they play in Knoxville, if not, then maybe not. Maybe they don't have to play in a hostile environment ever.
They should each get dinged for that. Like if they both let's say they end up at 10-2 in the playoff area, they should get dinged for that.
I think Georgia they should handcuff them some anyway for like, I mean, they don't have to play, like you said, in that the SEC championship's in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So they should take away some scholarships, I think. I think we should have more, teams should have more opportunities.
Agreed.
You think Oregon's going to lose to Michigan? That line is 14.5. That seems crazy to me. It is at Michigan, but dang.
Oregon's a dog, 14.5 dog?
No.
Oh, the way you said that, I was like, what? Oh, I could see Michigan covering 14.
Okay.
I wouldn't pick that. That would not be a bet I placed. But I also probably wouldn't take Oregon to cover that either. I'd tease it down to like 10.
Yeah.
And take Oregon.
Okay.
Hey. You owe me a cigarette. Like you smoke a cigarette with me Saturday. You have to.
Okay, that's fine. I will.
Okay.
There is one thing. I'm glad you brought this up. Signetti, I know you win, but can you beat somebody with a pulse? I just want to see it.
But
I'm not saying you can't.
But they have to
You
play their
just
schedule.
haven't.
But they have
I
to play their
agree,
schedule.
but you haven't.
And I think that's
So
a fair.
You can't just have this like, oh, Indiana's in the playoff. Based on what? Their high school schedule that they play?
But to be fair, if they do go 12-0, you have to. They're in the Big Ten. It's not their fault. Their schedule is what their schedule is. And they will have played Ohio State by that point. And they will have played Michigan, who is ranked top 10 preseason.
That's true.
Which I'm not a preseason guy, but all these super
up to this point,
smart
it
football
has been
people.
Horrible.
No, I'm not saying they're playing a tough schedule. They're a number one team. I'm just saying, don't doubt Kurt Signetti. He wins. It doesn't matter who's in front of him. It just so happens that the people in front of him suck. He's 8-0. And you did doubt him beating Washington this week with Taven Jackson. And he said, Google my name, and took care of business.
Yeah, Will Rogers, you suck.
We knew that.
He threw 7 incompletions and 2 were picks.
I love when I do that on NCAA. The football hadn't hit the ground yet.
Yeah,
I've thrown 3 incompletions.
In the chest.
Yeah, someone's catching this football.
But this is like their first like true road game.
Okay, and they haven't. You're right, Landon. They have not played anybody, but there's nowhere that it's been by the end. I haven't watched all their games. Washington was a good game for a while, but they won 31-17. Nowhere on there. If you just look at their schedule and score, there's not been a close game. It's not like they've just skirted by people.
Yeah, I know, but
Style. You said you want to see style points. I've got a man giving you style points.
I just want to see it. Like, just play somebody else.
They'll play Ohio State.
I know they will, and this could be. I said a Washington trap game at Michigan State.
It's not a trap game. If there's a trap game, it's Michigan before Ohio State, or it's Purdue before they play in the Big Ten championship. I don't think it's Michigan State.
If Ohio State beats Penn State, Indiana, can you at least do this and just run the table?
Landon, they will. They just have to. They haven't played them yet. They can't do anything if they haven't played them yet.
Like that, I just need you to. I don't need you to like beat all these, directional state schools and then go get blown out by Ohio State and make it into the college football playoff. That cannot happen.
While I hear your point, they played Northwestern, which is a weird school name. They've also beat Nebraska, Washington, Maryland.
Nebraska, they beat them at
UCLA.
Home. UCLA, there was probably more Indiana fans than there were UCLA fans in Pasadena.
No, you just said directional schools. I'm just saying, like, these schools that they're beating Big Ten schools.
UCLA sounds like a directional school, if we're being honest. It has like a city name in it. That's pretty directional for me. Western Illinois, Florida International, directional schools.
This is absolutely proves your point of it is a death sentence offense to say the Big Ten is deeper than the SEC.
Absolutely.
But I'm naming you Big Ten schools that they played. They're not playing a non-Power 5 schedule. Like, they are in a conference that these games get assigned to them. They can't do anything about it. Like,
I'm just mad.
You can't blame Indiana for this.
Right. I just feel like
you're mad that they're 8-0 finally, but they still just happen to play nobody.
Because like they get to have this schedule and perhaps get in over
but you don't want
this
team. Okay, that is fair, but at the same time, then you're just going, we'll leave the SEC, but then it's harder to get in at 10-2 on certain years anyway. You want to be in the SEC. You want to be in the harder conference. You want to go through the grind to get there. It is what it is.
If they like favorite, like if that is a emphasis, I think
you would then be more mad at a 10-2 Ohio State getting in over Tennessee in a much weaker conference, evident by an Indiana going 12-0 against a weak schedule, And I don't think you should be mad at Indiana about that. You should be mad at people saying, "Oh, we got to even it out, and there's got to be Big Ten teams get in," because it'd be the Ohio State team at 10-2 that you'd be mad at.
Well, then it could
Don't be mad at Indiana for winning. You're mad at the wrong person. You're mad at the wrong people.
Well, if Ohio State gets in at 10-2 over Tennessee, and their only good win is Indiana, who has played nobody, that's gonna piss me off.
But I'm saying if Ohio State wins this week, Indiana beats them. They're 10-2. Indiana's 12-0. You can't be mad at Indiana. You have to be mad at Ohio State.
Yeah, like that is fine. I'm saying if Ohio State's only win that they're counting toward them is Indiana, and they have 2 losses, so they lose to Penn State, they go beat Indiana, and they're like, oh yeah, we're going to put them in because Indiana went 11-1. I think
Indiana's first loss, and the AP is going to relish in bumping them. They're 8-0 and they're number 13. Like they cannot wait to drop them.
Okay,
right?
I hope you're right. I hope so. I hope we don't get it to this point. I hope both of them lose this week, and we're not talking about it anymore.
Indiana 12-0, Ohio State 10-2 and out. Even worse, 9-3. They lose to Penn State and Indiana.
Okay, that's fine with me. I'll take that.
You can't root against Indiana right now. That is a crime against humanity.
No, I am rooting for them to either lose or win out. There's no in between.
I would get the Indiana hate if they were getting a ton of like primetime media hype. They're not. Coach Prom goes 7-5, and people are just worshiping at his feet with just 9 toes. Meanwhile, Kurt Signetti's 8-0, beating everyone in front of him by a fair margin, and everyone's waiting on them to lose.
I got to pick somebody to lose in the Big Ten, and right now they are the weakest link.
I mean, listen, Michigan sucks. Michigan State sucks. Everyone that conference is bad. Just be happy.
Yeah. There's 4 teams in that conference. Everybody else would be bottom tier SEC. The rest of the conference, besides those 4 teams, would lose to Vanderbilt.
Did you tell him that I would accept a paper for why he could come on the show and he could come on?
Yeah.
I hope he writes it.
There's no way. He was on one the other day when I told him this, and I was like, dude, I don't have time for your rebuttal. If you want on the show, those are the terms.
I feel like those are fair terms. I've been doing this for how long? I guess he can do it for 8 years and we'll bring him on, but
yeah.
6 years, not 8, but you get
it.
I feel like Duke could quietly beat Miami this week. Like no one's really expecting it. I feel like that could happen.
Malik Murphy, where are you at?
I feel like Mississippi State could lose to UMass this week, which would probably suck for Tennessee, but be funny.
That would be funny. South Carolina, Texas A&M.
There's no way. I know they're only 3-point favorite. You think – okay, so actually this is a great point. I hate to keep bringing this guy up. I would love to hear what his thoughts are on Williams-Brice Stadium, because Williams-Brice Stadium, Columbia, South Carolina, especially at night, is one of top 12. I might even go higher.
In the
stadiums
SEC?
In the country. No, in the country. Oh, yeah. I mean, like I would probably go higher when I really sat out and rated it, but just off the top of my head, top 12 probably. Like if you say Williams-Brice, especially at night, is in a good environment, you haven't been there.
Yeah.
That place gets especially for an open stadium like it is, that place gets loud and they get going. I've been to 3 games there now, all at night, and great college football environments.
Yeah. I enjoyed everything except for the game, of course. But
that game sucked. The other 2 I went to were fine. They were good. But
yeah, I think that could be a tricky game.
I
don't
see it, but
yeah, let's talk about this. I just want to make up this real quick point. Marcel Reed came in, looked fantastic. It looks like he's probably going to be their starting quarterback going forward. He has played before. Like Wigman got hurt earlier in the year, and he came in and did not look good at all. Like it's not like no one's seen this guy before. LSU just didn't have an answer for it. But I just think he's kind of limited as a passer a little bit.
You think that pass rush is able to disrupt it enough?
I think this is kind of a perfect matchup for South Carolina.
Okay.
Now, I think it's going to be extremely low scoring, and that's probably why that line is where it's at.
See, I think that favors A&M. I think A&M does better in the trenches, scoring crucial, critical points. I think this game's got to be like 30-25 or something for South Carolina to win it. Really? That kind of gets into a little bit of a rock fight.
I think if it's ugly enough, I feel like South Carolina can come out with a win.
Yeah, but I think if it's like 17-10, I think it's A&M.
Okay. Yeah, that could be.
It just feels like if you're talking about who makes the defensive stand, I think that's probably.
I don't know. I'm just ready.
See, I don't know that pass rush. That pass rush could make the defensive stand alone. So yeah. Maybe.
I'm just ready for one of my theories to work. That like every time they hype somebody up, they lose the next week, and it seems like no one got more love last week than A&M. So
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So you need to quit begging for Tennessee national love. You need to shut your trap.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't need that.
Pittsburgh, SMU.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, who cares?
Speaking of a team they're waiting to drop, 7-0 Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen their schedule?
I have.
Yeah. Kent State scored 24 points on them. That's in itself you shouldn't even be ranked. Cal, the only team that they've beat bad, they beat Syracuse last week really bad. But they still got to play Clemson like that. They have a lot of work to get in conversation.
Sure.
All right, stupidity real quick.
Yeah, like I said, I was scrolling to find this one. It was that Ohio State was worse than Autzen Stadium. Big Ten Stadium now.
Okay.
Because, Autzen obviously gets loud, and everyone that has gone has really enjoyed it, but, let's not put it in the top of the top yet.
I had James Franklin saying Happy Valley at noon is one of the best places in the country. Also, I'm going to go ahead and say this. For you to talk that much crap in the offseason, for you not even to play against your former team is crazy. I understand, as a competitor, I don't, but as of a business decision, sure, I get that. I've seen Tennessee's defensive front play. I get it. But you can't say all that stuff and not play.
No, yeah. And if he hadn't said a word, I would be like, yeah, pipe it down, guys. But I'm not going to tell anybody to be quiet after all that. Not me. Not I. Which he's had an insane season. This isn't a stupidity. What were the final stats for Ashton Genty against UNLV? Because I know he struggled there.
He was over 100 yards.
He did end up getting over 100.
Yeah.
Wasn't it 53 going into the fourth quarter? So he had 50 in the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
Or was that 53 in the first half? That's what it was.
I'm not sure.
That'd make more sense.
But
he had 128 and a touchdown. He had 33 carries. Whew. Oof. That hurt my back just thinking about that.
Dylan Sampson gets 250 on 20 carries this week. I'm just saying.
Just saying.
Let's look at who Boise State's played, and we're just racking that up.
Why did Ohio State fans throw trash on the field on Saturday? Saturday, I was so sick last weekend. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, in 72-hour period, I bet I slept 50-something hours. Dude, I was so sick, and I was medicated.
I've been rough, too.
I slept so much.
Yeah, Alabama definitely poisoned us.
Yeah.
I've been like so like stopped up, and now like all the drainage is coming out.
I feel a lot better. My throat every morning, especially, but even during the day when I'm taking like ibuprofen, my throat is still very sore.
Yeah.
So glad I got on here and talked for 2 hours tonight.
Right. Yeah.
It'll feel.
I mean,
great
that's
in the
how I
morning.
felt last week. I'm like, dude, all I do at my job is talk.
Do you know the trick to warm salt water? Gargle it. It's supposed to like.
I've heard.
I used to do that. Like my dad used to have me do that a lot when I was a kid, and it works. Like it, and it's not like long term relief, but it used to like really work in the morning when you just kind of got to get it warmed up, and then it starts going away. Not even that's like doing anything to it.
Really?
Yeah, it's tough.
Got the crud.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all I got.
Yeah. I thought I had one more, and I don't. Let's get to the blackout game. Not you, students. Well, wear your black, but that's it. Joey. Best behavior. Yeah. Youngins. Love you, guys and gals. Thank you all for listening.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. We'll be back Sunday. Go Vols. Come to the tailgate Saturday. Big tailgate. Have some chili.
I might be in a costume.
I saw this cocktail that I'm gonna make on TikTok, so we'll see how good it is. Come by and try it, and yeah, should be fun. Go Vols! We're bringing the boat in, and we out.